All right, well, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Samantha. I go by she or her pronouns, and I'm pleased to be your host for today's Awards and Scholarships session as part of Ryerson's virtual open house, which is taking place from November 9th to the 13th and the 16th to the 20th. There are many sessions taking place across these 2 weeks. We encourage you to visit our website and register for any other session you might be interested in. To start, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land. Toronto and Ryerson are in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. And to me, the land acknowledgement is just a consistent reminder of our need to amplify more Indigenous voices, as well as the work that still needs to be done and continuously needs to be done towards truth and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples in Canada. Ryerson has shifted to an essential services model to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have put together a series of virtual sessions in order to share much of the information that we would have shared in person and connect with you. Ryerson is working diligently to provide students with fulsome experiences while maintaining the health and safety of our community. I have a few Zoom housekeeping tips before we get started. We definitely encourage you to ask questions throughout the session. We have many faculty and staff members on hand to help answer your questions. To do so, use the Q&A pod at the bottom of your Zoom window. Click the Q&A pod to open the dialog window and type your questions throughout the session. If you're having any audio or video issues, feel free to flag it in the Q&A box and one of our staff members will gladly help you. You can rearrange your screen in any way that's best for you. And please note that the way you are seeing your screen does not impact the way that others are seeing your screen. So feel free to play around with it. We would like to know who is joining us. So I'm about to launch a poll and I would love it if you participated. So let us know who's joining us today. Are you a prospective student applying for fall 2021? Perhaps you're a prospective student applying in the future. Maybe you're a university or college transfer student, or perhaps you're a parent or a guardian interested in awards and scholarships. Or maybe you're a teacher and a counselor looking for some more information to help advise your students. One of the greatest parts of having the open house be virtual is we are able to connect with folks from across Canada as well as from around the world. So let us know who you are and what stage of the application process you are in. I'm going to give it one more second to get a couple more answers in, and we will end it there. All right, so it looks like the majority of you are looking at potentially applying to us for fall of 2021. So no matter what stage of the application process you are in, we welcome you to our session. And I would just like to additionally remind you that the majority of our virtual open house sessions will be recorded, so you will be able to view these on the Ryerson website a little bit later on. Without any further delay, I'd love to introduce now Matthew Haddad, who is the Manager of Student Awards and Scholarships at Ryerson. So over to you, Matt.
Thank you so much. So everybody, welcome to Virtual Open House for the Student Awards and Scholarships from Admission to Graduation presentation. We got a lot to cover today. So on the agenda, we're just going to go through some introductions, give you a brief snapshot of Student Awards and Scholarships here at Ryerson University. And then we're going to launch a brief little poll that I'll explain in a bit. And then we're going to do a deep dive into student awards and scholarships. We'll be covering the difference between scholarships, awards, and bursaries. We will also go over the guaranteed and renewable entrance scholarships that are available to students, also the prestigious entrance scholarships, faculty-wide entrance scholarships, and other scholarship opportunities that would be available to you when you're applying to the university. Then we'll go right into AwardSpring, which is our awards management system. It's a system that consolidates all applications for the university, and going into current student awards as well and what to expect if you do become a current student. Finally, we'll kind of finish it off with financial need and what it means to demonstrate financial need and how it's actually assessed here at the university, and then some additional tips on applying to awards and scholarships here at Ryerson University. So my name is Matthew. I am the Manager of Student Awards and Scholarships here at Ryerson University. I'm a proud alumnus of the Arts and Contemporary Studies program within the Faculty of Arts here at Ryerson University. I graduated in 2013 from the program, and then I began working in various departments and administrative roles here at the university, supporting students along the way. as you can see, that's my picture to the right. I'm an avid outdoors person. I like hiking a lot, and I also like gaming a lot, hence my gaming headset that I currently have on to present this presentation. Today we have supporting you with your questions. We have Fazita, who is an awards management support specialist that works on my team. And then we also have Cole, who's an awards management system analyst that also works on my team. There are other members who are supporting your Q&A today. We have folks from recruitment as well as folks from the service hub as well. So there's a lot of support. So please, excuse me, if you have any questions, please feel to drop the questions down below and we'll happily answer them. So who we are the Student Awards and Scholarships Office. We aim to help Ryerson students and staff at the university with the scholarships and awards application process. We do play a central role in the establishment, the setup and promotion and application process for all student awards. So our office doesn't necessarily take care of administering all awards on campus. There's actually awards that are administered by various program departments to support specific students in specific programs, like awards for fashion students and awards for nursing students, for example. And then there's also faculty-wide awards, like an award offered by the Ted Rogers School of Management faculty or the Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science. But then there's also university-wide awards that are administered centrally by our office, the Student Awards and Scholarships Office. But we also help in making sure that there's a consistent process and a consistent system in which you can utilize to apply to awards here at Ryerson University. During the 2019 and 2020 school year, $20 million in continuing education, undergraduate, and select university-wide graduate awards were administered to over 20,000 students. So there's a lot of funding to go around. So with that, I'm going to be launching one of my polls. So this poll, one second. My apologies. So this poll is just going to try to identify what your experience is with awards and applying for awards in the past. So I'm just going to launch the poll. Have you ever applied for an award in the past prior to potentially attending Ryerson, and how did you find the experience? Was it yes? Was it easy to apply? Was it somewhat challenging to apply? Was it very challenging to apply? Or have you no experience in applying for awards at any given time? All right, see the responses are kind of slowing down. We'll give some more time. All right, there we go. So it looks like a lot of you have not much experience with applying for awards, which is oftentimes to be expected. But I hope that through this presentation and as we kind of go over what to expect in terms of applying for awards here at Ryerson University, you'll get an understanding of the ease and efficiency that we tried to put in place so that you can apply for awards here at the university in one central kind of location and in one central kind of process as well. All right. So with that, we're going to take a deep dive now into kind of the difference between scholarships, awards, and bursaries. Scholarships and awards and bursaries are forms of financial aid, all designed to help students pay for the post-secondary education. These do not need to be repaid. So if you are the successful recipient of a scholarship, award, or bursary, again, no need to be repaid. They're there for you to have always and to apply to either your tuition or to any other outstanding costs you might have related to your education. One thing that's important to note, though, is that scholarship, awards, and bursaries are not to be necessarily relied upon as a consistent source of funds. So scholarships and awards can be a one-time disbursement or renewable each and every year based on continuing to maintain your eligibility for that award. It's awarded primarily based on academic criteria or merits, whereas bursaries are a one-time disbursement and they are awarded for financial need or exceptional circumstances, especially if you happen to be experiencing some kind of an emergency situation or extenuating circumstances that was unanticipated during the school year. The Guaranteed and Renewable Entrance Scholarships is kind of the major set of scholarships that we have available to students who are attending a Canadian high school with a final admissions average of 80% or higher in their top 6 grade 12 university or mixed level courses, or Canadian provincial equivalents, are guaranteed to be eligible for the Guaranteed and Renewable Scholarships. So if you have an 80% or higher, you're definitely going to be guaranteed in that sense to actually receive the scholarship. But there's different ranges that we have available. So if you have, higher than 85.9%, you're between 86 to 89.9%, then you're going to be getting a total value of $4,000 over the course of 4 years. awarded in year one is $1,000, and the annual renewable amount is $1,000. However, it's important to note that this is a sliding scale. So as you continue to move into second, third, and fourth year, you do have to maintain eligibility for these scholarships by virtue of having the appropriate grade point average that is equivalent to the final admissions average that would have made you eligible for this guaranteed and renewable scholarship in the first place. And it's a sliding scale. So ultimately, if your average does go up in second, third, and fourth year, you can move up the scale to the higher tier scholarships. And if there's a case where you dip in average, you can go lower. And there's a possibility that you would not be able to maintain the scholarship if unfortunately your average does dip far enough. That being said, just a bit of a disclaimer, the availability and monetary value of all awards, bursaries, and scholarships are subject to change here at the university. The Student Awards and Scholarship Office does reserve the right to change the listed award and scholarship or bursary information and or value without really much notice. But Ryerson awards and scholarships and bursaries are not transferable to other post-secondary institutions as well. As far as I know, though, this guaranteed and renewable scholarship scale is set in stone for the fall 2021 admission cycle. If you need more information, though, we have information on the website, and you can find that chart there as well. Now we're just going to go into the prestigious entrance scholarships. These scholarships do require a bit more of an application process. It's not guaranteed. You do have to submit and be able to exemplify how you meet the meritorious achievements in relation to these scholarships. So one of the most high valued and the most prestigious scholarship that we have here at the university is the President's Entrance Scholarship. It's $10,000 annually for a total of $40,000 over the course of 4 years. There's 12 awards available, and we do split it up for 2 awarded per faculty. So we have 6 faculties in total here at the university. Therefore, we're always going to be seeking to award at least 2 students per faculty. And you would apply via AwardSpring. I'll get more into the details about what AwardSpring is and how to actually utilize AwardSpring later on in this presentation, but that's where you would apply. It's our central awards management system. And the deadline would be March 1st, 2021, and students can apply before receiving an offer of admission. So you don't actually have to receive an offer of admission from the university to actually start applying for these entrance scholarships. You would want to start applying for these entrance scholarships as you are applying to programs at the university. So this one, again, considering how prestigious it is, there's a minimum of a 90% final admissions average that is required for consideration. And they ask for a lot in terms of the application. They ask for an essay or project summary, 2 letters of reference, and a kind of a list of leadership activities that you have been involved in during your final 2 years in secondary school. It's open to domestic students and international students as well. In terms of the Terrence Greer Entrance Scholarship, this is another prestigious entrance scholarship that is available to students. This one is only available to domestic students only. This award is one award of full tuition for the first year. It's non-renewable, so you only get it for the first year, and it's just covering your first full year of tuition. Again, you apply via AwardSpring, and the deadline would be March 1st, 2021, and students can apply before receiving an offer of admission for this one as well. This one would require you to have an 85% final admission average for consideration, and the application will ask that you include a personal statement and 2 letters of reference. And finally, for the prestigious entrance scholarships, we have the International Secondary School Merit Scholarship. As coined by the title, it's only available to international students. It's $5,000, non-renewable, and there are 7 awards available for this particular award. And you would apply via AwardSpring with the deadline of March 1st, 2021. And just like the other 2 scholarships, you can apply before receiving an offer of admission as well. There are other entrance scholarships available at the university that are not necessarily centrally administered. So we have scholarships available via the Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science. They offer a bunch that are available and, to apply to on AwardSpring with various number of awards and values available for those awards. We also have the Ted Rogers School of Management, which has a number of faculty-wide awards as well that you can also apply to on AwardSpring. And finally, there is some other scholarship resources that are available to students. One thing to also keep in mind is that when it comes to scholarships, awards, and bursaries. This is one form of financial aid. There's also financial aid offered through our Student Financial Assistance Office. So I've provided a link on this presentation to their office. The Student Financial Assistance Office helps students with applying for OSAP, out-of-province loans and grants, and other forms of financial assistance. And of course, there are also external scholarships outside of the university that I would highly encourage all students to apply for. When applying for an external scholarship, it's not administered by Ryerson. They will provide funding to you possibly and be able to actually send over funding to the university directly, either in the form of a check or an electronic transfer to offset any tuition fees that you have for the upcoming academic year. So now getting into AwardSpring. So AwardSpring, as mentioned, is where you would apply for many of the various entrance scholarships that I just presented and displayed to you folks. It is also your one-stop awards application system for applicants and current students. So applicants and current students can log on to AwardSpring via ryerson.awardspring.ca using the Ryerson ID and password to access all awards across the university. What's unique about it is that you would complete a single application known as a general application to be considered for 1,300 plus awards, scholarships, and bursary opportunities, including the entrance scholarships that I just presented. Please note that some awards may require, again, additional documentation, such as a letter of support or an essay, and these can all be submitted via AwardSpring. More information about awards can also just be found on our website. So this is what AwardSpring would look like when you ultimately go to the URL. As a Ryerson applicant, AwardSpring enables you to view and apply for all awards available at the university in one convenient spot. Once you've received a Ryerson student number, you would activate your online identity, if you have not done so already, to access AwardSpring. Your online identity can be activated by virtue of receiving a student number. When you apply to the university, you would receive an acknowledgement email from the admissions office acknowledging your application to a program here. And the Ryerson student number can be utilized to activate your online identity. You would normally do so that you can track the status of your application on your Choose Ryerson portal page. That same login credentials can be used to access AwardSpring as well. Once you log into AwardSpring, you'll be tasked with completing a general application, which is, again, akin to creating an AwardSpring profile. And after completing the general application, you'll be actively matched to awards at the university. Awards that you're matched to will show up on your dashboard. So again, once you complete the general application, just go right to your dashboard and you'll see awards that you've been matched to and that you can complete follow-ups for. Completing follow-ups is akin to basically completing the specific application for a specific award. So you may be asked to submit a written statement, a personal letter, a resume, or you maybe even be asked for a letter of reference to submit by the deadline for that specific award. Once you've applied for the award, it'll show on your dashboard that you applied, and then you would be essentially awaiting to determine to see what the results are of that award application. Award recipients, if you are the successful recipient of an award, in terms of communications, an administrator or the Student Awards and Scholarships Office will connect with you via email or via your Choose Ryerson applicant portal if you are an applicant to the university to let you know that you're the successful recipient of an award. In terms of payments for entrance scholarships, funds are deposited directly into your student account, also known as your RAMS account, to offset any upcoming tuition charges. For most other awards, especially current student awards, you can expect to receive a check for funds awarded. Only entrance scholarships are usually typically applied towards your outstanding tuition charges. Keep in mind that any entrance scholarships that would be paid to you will likely be remitted in late August or early September. In terms of recognition, students that receive an award are often recognized by the award granting department during an award ceremony with a certificate of recognition and the opportunity to network with your peers and colleagues. Many of the ceremonies this year were virtual and were held by various departments across campus after they awarded the current students in their specific program departments and faculty-wide awards as well. In terms of demonstrating financial need for awards, there are some awards and scholarships here at Ryerson University that would require you to demonstrate financial need in order for you to qualify and be eligible to apply for the award. So this is a qualification in the sense that if you qualify, you are then matched to the award on AwardSpring, and then you're able to complete any follow-ups that are required, such as a written statement, letter of support, and so on. So demonstration of financial need for awards is very important. It plays a very important role in determining if you qualify for certain awards, scholarships, and/or bursaries that require you to demonstrate financial need. If you are an applicant to a program at the university, please note that the Student Awards and Scholarships Office only has the ability to assess financial need for current students that are enrolled and attending classes at Ryerson University. The reason why we're only able to assess financial need for current students is because we have a more accurate picture and idea as to how you what available resources and expenses you have to enable to calculate and determine whether or not you actually demonstrate financial need. So therefore, if you are conditionally offered an entrance scholarship that requires you to demonstrate financial need, you will be required to complete the general application on AwardSpring in early August upon becoming a current student, so that our office can assess you as to whether or not you demonstrate financial need. So for more information, you can visit our website, which has a little drop-down menu pertaining to the demonstration of financial need for entrance scholarships. The financial information section on AwardSpring is a part of the general application where you can report your current budget for post-secondary studies at Ryerson University. So again, once you complete your general application, you'll be matched to awards, even awards that require you to demonstrate financial need. But only when you become a current student in August will our office be able to actually assess whether or not you actually demonstrate financial need for the award that you may have conditionally received, or for any upcoming awards that you might want to apply to as a current student. In terms of the financial information section, to be considered for financial need-based awards and to complete the financial information section, you must respond with a yes to the following question on the general application. The application will ask, would you like to be considered for awards, scholarships, and bursaries that require you to demonstrate financial need? And so long as you answer yes, you will be in consideration for scholarships and awards that have that qualification and that requirement. Financial need is assessed based on your personal budget for post-secondary studies. So you self-report your financial resources and expenses for studies at Ryerson University, and we run an assessment to determine if you have financial need. We take into consideration educational costs such as tuition, laptops, software, books, and other supplies that you may need to have for post-secondary studies, any housing costs that you may have, including residence, apartment, and utilities, financial aid received up until then, so OSAP, government loans, grants, or any other kind of government assistance, personal employment income and savings, and other expenses and available resources, which is why we conduct the assessment in early August and even onward into the school year, because we have an accurate rendition and idea of what your expenses and resources look like for the upcoming academic year. If you have more resources available than expenses, in that case, you're not considered to have demonstrated financial needs. So it's important to note that having more resources than expenses puts you in a position where you don't qualify as having demonstrated financial need. There is also a flip side to that, though, as well. If your submitted financial information shows an unmet need that demonstrates a significant gap in available resources to cover expenses, indicative of an unrealistic budget or unsound financial planning for post-secondary education, you may be advised to review your application again for accuracy and completeness. Demonstrating financial need, it's important to note, is not about demonstrating the most need possible. Demonstrating financial need is about sound financial planning for post-secondary studies, but still experiencing or even expressing a gap in available resources to cover your educational expenses. And finally, some additional tips on applying for awards and scholarships. What you want to do is you definitely want to plan ahead and submit an accurate and reasonable budget to demonstrate financial need. Double check for spelling, grammar, and formatting when submitting additional documentation related to a specific award or scholarship opportunity that you're applying for. Connect with your references to ensure they're willing to be your reference for an award or scholarship. That's one of the most important things, and make sure they're aware of the deadline dates that they have in relation to your award or scholarship. Log on to AwardSpring early to complete your general application so that you're immediately matched when awards open up and become available to you. So with that, I just want to say thank you for joining us today. The webinar will technically remain open until 11 a.m. or can be cut a bit shorter as we continue to answer your questions. In the meantime, here are some helpful resources. We have our Student Awards and Scholarships website, as well as the Student Financial Assistance website that relates to OSAP and out-of-province government student aid as well. Thank you.
Awesome, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for all that helpful information. We do have quite a few questions, so I'd love to pivot and throw some of them your way if you're open to them. We have had a couple questions about IB and IB scholarships. I know students who take the IB are eligible for transfer credit, but off the top of your head, are you aware of any scholarships that are specifically for IB students?
So many of the scholarships that would probably be available in that case would be a lot of the current student scholarships. There are some entrance awards and scholarships that aren't offered during the admission cycle. So what I mean by that is that while you're applying to the university, you're not necessarily applying to these entrance scholarships. These entrance scholarships are actually available to you as a first-year student, but they're available on the basis that you have had a specific final admissions average, or you've completed certain type of meritorious or academic achievements during your secondary school studies or any prior studies prior to admission into the university. And as a result, it's available to you as a current student that you would then apply for in September, October, as you are, proceeding with your studies here at the university.
And what are some general tips that you might be able to share in terms of what makes a scholarship application strong for a student?
So some of the additional tips I did share prior, again, was just about spelling, grammar, and strong formatting. Those are pretty basic. But of course, we also have some of the strong tips that I have is just reaching out to various individuals who know you really well, who can help support your application, especially if there's a letter of reference component and the requirement, and also just the ability to highlight all your achievements and how you stand out in comparison to the rest of the other students that are also applying for the award. Because as I stated before, when it comes to award scholarships and bursaries, they're not relied on as a consistent source of funds because there is a competition aspect to them in terms of applying for awards and scholarships. You want to make sure that you stand out in comparison to the rest. So you really have to make sure you highlight your previous achievements, your activities, how you are essentially a leader in the community, how you are a leader in within your groups and your circles, and to essentially show that you stand out in comparison to the rest of the students.
Sorry, I was muted.
No worries.
We have a student who says, due to COVID, it is hard to do volunteer opportunities during 2020. So when they apply to the scholarship, can they just mention previous leadership and volunteer activities they've done before kind of the pandemic kicked in?
Yeah, totally. We're well aware of, obviously the situation going on around this world at this time. We keep an open mind in terms of the review process. Again, there's a committee involved in terms of reviewing these scholarship applications. But I also encourage to, wherever possible, to uniquely get involved in this virtual environment wherever you can and try to exemplify that in your application. But yes, you're welcome to obviously display any volunteer or leadership activities that you may have had conduct in, prior to this pandemic.
Now, I know you mentioned this, but we do have a student asking, they did really well in high school, but they've gotten a bachelor's degree since then. They're curious whether they can still use their average from high school for an entrance scholarship.
So my apologies, just change the slide. But yeah, when it comes to entrance scholarships, many of the entrance scholarships that I highlighted, the guaranteed renewable, the prestigious entrance scholarships, for example, the requirement is that you have no gaps in education between your secondary school and your entrance into the university here at Ryerson. That being said, as I've mentioned with similar to the IB question that we had before, is that there are going to be awards that are going to be available to students in their first year that are considered to be entrance awards. They're just not awards that you apply to while you're being considered for admission into the program. And those awards would be available on the basis that you could have completed any form of studies prior to entering the university. So in those cases, you'd be able to apply for those entrance awards. You just wouldn't have an accurate idea or understanding as to what those award values would be like during the admission cycle, because most of the awards that I highlighted that are entrance scholarships based are basing the final admissions average on completion of secondary school studies.
No, we have a question that's a little bit faculty specific, so I'm not sure if you can answer this, and if not, I'm sure we can pass the information to our colleagues in Ted Rogers. But we have a student saying, is the TRSM entrance scholarship of $1,300 guaranteed if grade requirements are met like the regular entrance scholarships? Are you familiar with that one? I'm not personally off the top of my head.
Yeah. So there's actually some of the scholarships I highlighted on this presentation from TRSM. The faculty-wide entrance scholarships are ones that you can apply to. They're not necessarily guaranteed because there's an application process, but there are guaranteed TRSM entrance scholarships that are simply based on your final admissions average. So that information is consolidated by admissions, and they determine who receives that based on being admitted into the Ted Rogers School of Management program. So there's really not much that we do in relation to that because, again, the only requirement is just achieving the appropriate grade, and then from there the scholarship would be remitted to you on the basis that you have that final admissions average. So TRSM does offer kind of their own version of guaranteed entrance scholarships based on your final admissions average. But some of the ones that I highlighted that are available on AwardSpring are ones that you actually would apply to because there's some component to them where you have to be able to compete with other students who are also applying to that award as well.
We have a student who's curious about stacking scholarships and the opportunities to combine scholarships. So they want to know, is it possible to receive more than one scholarship?
Yeah, it is. It's very much so possible. Yeah, highly encourage it. Apply to as many as you can, and try to compete for them the best you can in terms of trying to, trying to extend your application. I would only recommend that you try to ensure that you are meeting the qualifications of each and every award in its own unique way. So I wouldn't necessarily share the same, written statement or, any kind of something that's supposed to support one application. I wouldn't necessarily share that across to another application because you want to make sure that you look into the description of the award. What is it that they're expecting? Some of them are trying to seek to serve equity deserving groups. They're also seeking to serve students with like a specific kind of background. So you want to make sure that you are speaking to the award itself and how you actually meet the qualifications of that award. When the committee reviews, they're going to be looking at unique responses in relation to that.
We have a question from a student who is homeschooled. So they say, what happens if we are homeschooled because I don't know where I can get any letters of reference? Are those eligible to be written by non-academic folks?
Yeah, so I think in that case, I would recommend probably emailing us because we will have to, it'll probably involve a more personalized or individual discussion. I don't want to necessarily, give the wrong impression here. So I would say email us at awards@ryerson.ca and we can kind of look into your specific situation and see how we can actually accommodate your ability to still apply for these entrance scholarships.
Perfect, great. Another student who's again asking about faculty specific. So where can I find faculty specific awards and scholarships? Like they're interested in the fashion program. So I'm assuming that's on the fashion program's website, kind of promote some of those ones a little bit.
Yeah, so the two faculties that I highlighted, which is Ted Rogers School of Management and Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science, they have faculty-wide entrance scholarships. To my knowledge, there's not many other faculties that have faculty-wide entrance scholarships, but there are program-specific entrance scholarships. The actual program departments would highlight them, but ultimately the application still would be housed on AwardSpring itself. So AwardSpring would still be your central location for applying for these awards, but the departments themselves would highlight these awards that are available because they're program specific. Again, they're going to be specific to students entering that specific program, whereas the faculty-wide ones, they cover a bit more. When you're applying for a Ted Rogers School of Management one, it applies to all the students applying into the school of Ted Rogers School of Management.
Yeah, great point. And I definitely encourage students. I know a lot of you are doing research into scholarships right now, which is amazing. So a lot of the program websites are quite detailed in terms of some of the scholarships they have. As Matt mentioned, you're not applying to them on the website, but you can kind of see some of the scholarships that are out there for the programs and what year they're at. So definitely check out the websites, or if you'd like to order an admissions handbook, we do have an opportunity to order admissions handbooks on the Ryerson website, either a PDF or we'll mail you a copy. university. And in the handbook, each of the programs has a link to the program website. So that can kind of help direct you to some of that information. We have a student who's trying to already access AwardSpring. Every time I log in, nothing happens. So can you kind of just go over the timeline for when they get access to AwardSpring once again?
Yeah, so normally once you've applied to the university and if you receive an acknowledgement of email with your student number, you should then be able to activate your online identity. That would give you access to your Choose Ryerson portal. And then from there, you should be able to log in using that same credentials to AwardSpring. If you're having trouble though, I would recommend you just email us at awards@ryerson.ca and then we can look into if there's any technical issues that you might be experiencing.
Got a question from an international student. So welcome to that international student. They're curious whether if they demonstrate financial need, should they apply to scholarships or to bursaries?
Yeah, so awards and scholarships that require you to demonstrate financial need often also have other qualifications associated with it, where they're trying to see if you have any specific academic achievements or if you have exemplified some kind of meritorious background before applying to those awards and scholarships. So although demonstration of financial need is a component, it's not the only qualification in relation to that award or scholarship. And there are some awards and scholarships that don't actually require you to demonstrate financial need as well. But the bursary, the reason why that requires you to only demonstrate financial need is because the focus of a bursary is that it's trying to assist you with a one-time disbursement due to some kind of emergency or extenuating circumstance that you might be experiencing during the current academic year. Applicants don't really have the ability and can't really apply for bursaries. When you become a current student, you can apply for a bursary. Again, not to be relied on as consistent source of funds, but it's really just there to, as a kind of a safeguard to ensure that there's some kind of funding that we can provide to a student in case they are going through a tough time or if they experience some kind of unanticipated emergency that they need assistance with.
A student is wondering whether the supporting documents, so reference letters, do they need to be on any sort of official letterhead if they're being submitted?
In some cases, yes, the prestigious entrance scholarships require the referee or the reference to upload a letter. And oftentimes it's the reference who would actually determine, what kind of, if they would put it on a letterhead or not. We will accept any kind of letter of reference though, ultimately, so long as it's clear who's basically completing the letter of reference. But our prestigious entrance scholarships require that the letter of reference is uploaded. When you become a current student, most letters of reference that you would obtain from faculty members or professors across the university, or even other colleagues that you may have networked with at some point who may be able to support your application to a current student award, would require them just to essentially use the text box that's available on AwardSpring to format and write a letter of reference in relation to your current student award. It's a bit less formal and when you're applying for current student awards, but for the prestigious entrance scholarship, it requires an uploaded letter. So most of the time, your reference would upload a letterhead in that case.
We have a student who's looking to bridge over to Ryerson. They're curious if you know off the top of your head, again, I know we have so many scholarships at Ryerson, so it's hard to kind of ask you to identify a specific one, but are you aware of scholarships for students who are bridging, perhaps?
Yeah, so we have obviously scholarships, again, that are available for, that are entrance related, that are more so current student awards. Technically, they're not offered during the admission cycle. Again, the reason why a lot of them are not offered during the admission cycle, and one of the only reasons why we offer entrance scholarships to students exiting straight from a secondary school into Ryerson University is mostly just due to logistics. When it comes to students coming from a secondary school into post-secondary, we have a consistent way of determining what their final admissions average is in relation to other applicants that are also applying for the award. But with students who have are applying from another post-secondary institution who have maybe an IB background or potentially are bridging, there's various ways to conduct an assessment as to how you're actually what your final admissions average is in comparison to other students. So therefore, we oftentimes consider you for current student awards as of September that are entrance related, but ultimately they're available for you to apply to in September onward as a current student, and then you can continue to apply for awards as you move forward in your studies in second, third, and fourth year as well.
So just to reiterate, because we do have a student who's asking for a little bit more information regarding like what does current student award mean? So current student award is for students who are fully fledged, matriculated, accepted Ryerson students.
Yeah, that's correct. If you're fully accepted into the university, then those are considered to be current student awards in comparison to awards available for applicants to the university. And again, we have entrance awards that are for current students. They're just offered as of September when you start your classes, but they're oftentimes based on previous academic achievements that you've achieved prior to your entrance into the university. It's just that they're not considered over the time period of when you're applying to the university to be admitted into a program.
Matt, I only have one more question for you, and then
Okay.
we'll kind of let you go off camera, and we can take some of the rest of the questions if they come on through that way. So again, back to entrance scholarships, the student is just curious if guaranteed entrance scholarships are available for international students.
So the guaranteed renewable entrance scholarships, the ones where if you have a specific final admissions average, and then that scholarship would then be guaranteed and applied to your account, at this time is only available to students from a Canadian secondary school. So any out-of-province students outside of Ontario who are still within Canada and studying within a Canadian secondary school institution will be able to be automatically guaranteed consideration for the guaranteed renewable entrance scholarships. But there is the international secondary school merit scholarships, and then there's a number of international entrance scholarships that are available to students when they become a current student as of September, which would be available on our international admissions website. They have like kind of a rundown of what those scholarships are. You all apply for those awards on AwardSpring when you become a current student. But if you wanted more information about those scholarship opportunities for international students, they would all be available on the international admissions website. These include scholarships like the Salad King International Scholarships, which was a really proud donor that we have here at the university, where it's actually a restaurant that's nearby that is very popular among students here at the university. And as a result, they were willing to donate funds to the university on behalf of supporting international students. And that award itself, or that scholarship opportunity, would be available to you as you enter the university, and you can apply for it when you become a current student as of September.
We love Salad King. That's one of the many things I miss about being on Ryerson campus. I am going to ask you one more because it's pertaining to international students as well. So a student is curious if there's scholarships available for older international students. I know you mentioned scholarships on the international website, and I do encourage our international students who are watching this to do check out the international admissions website we have, because it's quite fulsome. You can actually meet with some of our international recruiters, which is amazing. But for older, there's no age restriction if you're coming to us in terms of that, correct?
Yeah, no, there isn't. I mean, the International Secondary School Merit Scholarship, because it's offered during the admission cycle, it's just like some of our other scholarships, there's an expectation that there's currently no gap in studies, because they want to assess your ability to be considered for the entrance scholarship on the basis that you've performed really well in your secondary school. So they can't consider somebody with a gap in studies between secondary school and entry into Ryerson University. So therefore, when you're applying for the International Secondary School Merit Scholarship, which is a true entrance scholarship that is considered over the course of the application period when you're applying to a program here at the university, that one is considered for students who are coming straight from a secondary school into Ryerson University. But other entrance awards that are available for international students, or even just general current student awards that are available for international students, there is no age restriction. It's open to all students who are international in that case.
Perfect. Well, we almost completely cleared the Q&A queue, which is amazing. So thank you so much, Matt, for all your insight and the information. I know it's super helpful. I know money's on everyone's mind, so it's just helpful to kind of lay out this information and let students know what some of their options are when they're applying to Ryerson. So thank you so much for your presentation. We are going to personally shut down our videos and audio, meaning you won't be able to see or hear us, but we will keep this room open for the next roughly 15 minutes. So do feel free to keep sending your questions through the Q&A pod, and our staff members from awards and scholarships and recruitment staff members like myself will be more than happy to answer your questions as they filter through. On behalf of Ryerson University, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you continue to stay safe and healthy, and we hope to see you at some of our future sessions throughout our virtual open house. Bye now.